Gotta go. Thanks, Marco. Because the problem with ABS is you sort of set presets, but they don't really. It's annoying. Anyway, so for doing the TT, you got to kick out of the gate hard because there's no ramp to accelerate you. So an extra 100 watts gets you up to speed quicker and settle back. The last race is definitely faster on the time trial bike, if it's no go. Alright, I better get to the pen. Should I change the music up or down? Or is it pretty good? I don't think I'll be talking much during this TT. Go a little bit longer. I don't want to be sitting for too stationary. Thanks, Bowie. I've really got to give Bowie more. Cool. Thanks, Marco. I've got to give more scripts. Saying making an AI machine learning. I'll dual record this ride too. See how close the kicker is this today. Oh, it's pretty hot too. Let's go to the event. How's your day been, Marco? You've been resting up after your efforts. That was some amazing riding you got to do. Yeah, give it a week or so. Yesterday I wasn't streaming, and I think the chat were quite happy that I'm streaming today because they're not having me be a smartass on the in-game chat. Yeah, good idea, Marco. You don't need to train anymore. I always find these efforts really difficult to pace. You've got other riders in front of you. Everyone goes too hard. It's fine, but it feels like I'm going so slow. I had to put a bit of weight back on my Zwift avatar. I've been trying to lose weight, Marco, but Whitney's been doing lots of really nice cooking. Her hobby and my hobby don't go together. I'll make sure my resistance. Here we go. Just accidentally put my Wahoo into a fight with itself. Give it 10 seconds. Too much yet? Settle down. What are they? 380. Yeah, mass start TT. Yeah, a bit lumpy though. I can afford to rest on the last kilometre though. Wonderful. Yeah, Marco. It's tough, isn't it? Tempting to hold the wheels. Okay, effort over this hill. A little bit of a rest. Even less with this hill. Only a rest afterwards. Whew. Oh, done. So 2 races to go, Mike. Oh, Jesus. That's got a lot less watts per kilo. I think I invested the energy well. Where did Guerrero come? Yes. 11 seconds. Alright, better do another red so I get a good grip position. change. Where is it?
Barbara Streisand.
Everybody loves duck sauce. Is this amazing? Is this amazing?
Yep, got my right bucket. Oh, Marco. This race will be easier. I hope. Yep, I'll get a drink.
Take you to the farmer's
My sugar water into me.
Get you the freshest veggies and shit, like they serve at Whole Foods.
Y'all take you antiquing and buy you the nicest dollhouse, hand painted.
Oh shit! Alright, I'll fucking take you horseback riding on the white sands of sunny Portugal, motherfucker.
I reckon we'll be fast. Because there'll be nutters. But City's always a strange one in ACAT because people know they can't get away.
I'll set up a juice glass for both of us.
Yeah, we should be doing 60 k's an hour, I reckon.
And I'll help you get the mental clarity that you've always wanted, and help you with your IBS.
I'll fucking.
Depends yesterday. There's lots of heavy riders in this race. Was yesterday. So actually the start's quite hard. Because you've got a lot of riders 75 to 80 kilos like me. They're all pushing 380, 400 watts FTP. It's actually been an interesting race to ride. Because a lot of the times I'm racing. Yeah, might be guys in the race. Now I've got a few locals who follow my rides because they ride with me. So they like to watch what's going on. Or the replay. Greg. I'm sure Greg's riding. I haven't seen him on the sign up. Greg Morgan, he's a strong rider. And we got Stefan. Stefan absolutely smashed me on the Bologna circuit last time. So hopefully he's not in this race. Next race. I'll show you the go to. Oh, here we go. So while we're filling this timing, Marco. So this is the first race. I can confuse everyone, but like, hey, look at me, I'm riding without any. Oh. So this is the first race yesterday. I probably started a little bit slow because I'm getting used to how hard I need to start my races. Probably lost 3 or 4 seconds, but then they just strung it out till the start line. You can see here, like I didn't want to put too much effort. Because if I put too much effort, then they all fly up again, it's kind of annoying. But I was just trying to keep an eye on the gaps. So there's a bit of a split happening just 5 or 6 rides ahead of me. So I was just rolling forward to get to that little spot. This is pretty much where the split happens, just behind me. But I was surprised it was still rolling through this far. Given I wasn't perfectly in the draft. Still. And the first lap averaged 47 kilometers an hour, including that petite com. Then I skip ahead now. This is the petite com. I use my feather here It seems like the longest, steepest part of the course. So this bit you kind of almost rest on because it gets down to 3%, so you get a good draft. And you're going to make sure you start attacking on these cobbles. Well, I do anyway. I wasn't worried too much about the 2 guys ahead because you always catch, as long as you got 4 or 5 guys, you always catch them on the percent. So I was just trying to make sure I could slide back if I needed to, just here. Probably a little bit hard. So now I sort of start trying to slide back a little bit. Even though I'm doing lots of watts. So you can see I backed off to 300. Because once you get to this point, as long as you stay in this group, you'll catch the guys ahead. The guy that won the race, well, the first and second were aero guys. Should see them. I think the guy, it's Clues Proctor. I think the guy with the backwards hat is Clues Proctor. And Osborne's the other guy. Yeah, you'd be good at this bit, Marco. So kind of, it's annoying in Zwift in terms of real life racing, I suppose. Those 2 guys at the front, there's a lot of 3 or 4 guys as strong as them. We wouldn't have caught them. Well, I probably would have had to have stuck with them. So it's funny when you do that, when you race against lower levels, then you're often disadvantaged for going off the front on those hills. In terms of you put a lot more effort in, but you get caught. Yeah, Marco, those. Nothing like a really nice downhill. As long as you don't scare yourself at some stage on the descent. So this is the final climb. I pretty much do it almost identical. Criterium have it. But of course Flores goes off again. Bowstead follows him. Someone managed to sit in the pack a little bit further back at this section. So I could ease off now rather than have to accelerate. The bloody van, I didn't get the feather in the aero. I did get 2 feathers for the climb, so I can't complain. Oh, I'm going fast now. How do I make my cadence that fast? Camera's not the smoothest today. We're going to get myself a USB camera. Yeah, that's the thing, you don't need to go hard down hills. Especially over the events like the one that Ruben and Philip did, they neutralise the sense. So when a little bit late on this sprint, but reality is, guys that can beat me are just better sprinters. I went late and just fell further behind. Thought I got 7th and then it popped me down to 8th. Yeah, Marco, that's the thing about the descent. You don't really need to crush the descents. Because in reality, even if you go heaps faster than everyone else, you gain 10, 20, 30 seconds. No, I mean the darkness. Alright, back to Zwift. Got about 7 minutes. There's a hairdresser across the street, but I can't get my hair cut because we're still in lockdown with restrictions. The bike can have a bit of a rest now. Hey Greg, second in what? The other race the other week. Which one was it? How are you going, Greg? You win this race? Yeah, Marco, you'll be right though, because so Greg Marco's just come back from doing the Marmot. Is it La Marmot or something, Marco? Anyways, he's just been in the Alps for 8 days. Getting a good training camp in. Marco used to be 100 and, what were you, Marco? 160 kilograms? Now you're down to 90 odd. Crazy. Such a big turnaround. Feels weird not. What was it, Marco? It was not, it's the other one. Anyway, you went up the Alp.
Let the fucking beat drop.
Yeah, so you'll be flying, Marco. Comes the RL, just get back into your regular training. And all that riding that you did up in the Alps will soak in. That's alright, Greg, you can always congratulate me on seconds. Like, at least I didn't get 5th, Greg. I'd rather take 5th than an 8th though. But I was telling Marco, Greg, that there's a lot of, this race is interesting because a lot heavier riders in these races. I'm not sure if it's because it's a triathlon team that set it up. A lot of the riders are 75 to 80 kilos in the top 10, which makes racing feel a little bit different. This fit's going to be interesting because I think, well, I'm definitely not going to have a chance in the sprint. I've got to position myself so well to get myself a top 10 here. And I'm going to go off. If yesterday's race is anything to go by, I'm going to have to make sure I'm doing 600, 700 watts. 0, otherwise I'm going to lose too much distance. Yeah, Ruben, Phil, and also a few other guys. I always forget his name. He had his name spelt wrong. I can't even say his name though. Phil gets lots of crap for saying it. Kaj, I think. Yeah, once you get down to 80 kilos, Marco. Well, what your thing is, at the moment, your riding outdoors is fantastic. Yeah, Juan and Kaj. I'll get lots of crap for mispronouncing their names, but I haven't met them in real life, so I've got that. So, Greg, they all met up together. I think a few of them rented a flat together. So it'd be interesting to watch Phil Lovett's vlog about it. Yeah, I haven't checked the TT, Greg. There's some big numbers, but I expect massive TTs from these guys. I thought Tully Lister was signed up for this event, but I haven't seen him. Tully Lister's had an FTP increase last week, I saw. Tie. Okay, thanks, Marco. I'll be racing. I'm going to try and get in with Aero CT. I signed up with Aero CT, Greg, and also Backpedal. So I'll be racing on Pacific. I think there's 2 Pacific times, but the first Pacific time that they had last CRL, which is 7 o'clock Australian time, around that. And then I'll be racing around 9 or 10 o'clock, depending on daylight savings, in the morning on Wednesdays with Backpedal A3. I'll stream both of them. I'm pretty much doing the first one just in terms of just so I get, because I haven't got any team. I don't know anyone. I better start pedaling, otherwise my power meter's going to bugger up. I don't know anyone here from my team, so I decided just to join an Australian team racing the Australian time zone, and also good thing is I can get some recon done in the first race. I'm not sure what power-ups there are in this event. I don't think there is any. Yeah, you're racing the Atlantic. Is that Greg? Is that one of the first time zones? The Atlantic, and then if I was racing in Australia, it would swap over and daylight savings 2 hours. So I think you'll be racing around the same time as me until daylight savings kicks in here. Just daylight savings. Take this off. Drink for a few minutes.
It's a strange game you and me play. It's a night move on such a hot day. Trying to keep cool, stuck in my head, thinking about you.
See that guy sprinting already. Gotta stick with them up this first climb. Best form of defense is attack. It's starting to happen. Okay, the split's been made. What power ups do we have? I'll burn this fan. Hope for an arrow. A lot of vans being used already.
Sweetly made myself a lullaby. This won't last forever. Treat your sadness with a smile. We can have what's next till we hang inside for a while. This is house arrest.
Oh, better go under Swift, don't I? Thanks, Marco. I think this should be an easier one as people prepare for the final lap. Maybe.
Living life all wrong, 'cause I thought I knew what love was, but my heart, it was made of stone. I was out there seeking after hours for money, looks and power, but all that goes and always gold. And just give me some love, 'cause I'm running out of that feeling. Doctor, prescribe me that drug, 'cause I need some more of your healing. Baby, turn me on, turn me on. Healing. Baby, turn me on, turn me on. Healing. Baby, turn me on, turn me on. Healing. You know just what I need. Live life in darkness, this body's full of emotions, trying to navigate through my mistakes. But ever since I met someone who taught me that love is like a party, I could never dim the lights again. And just give me some love, 'cause I'm running out of that feeling. Doctor, prescribe me that drug, 'cause I need some more of your healing. Baby, turn me on, turn me on. Healing. Baby, turn me on, turn me on. Baby, turn me on, turn me on. You know just what I need.
Final lap. Come on, Aaron. Like, oh, yeah. Oh, oh yeah. Oh. Ah. Thanks, Marco. I think I do that pretty well considering my abilities. I never hit the wind. So I sort of got within the meters, a few meters of the front as I kicked off. I'm going to be at the back of the group for this next event, but I think the timing starts after you pass start finish. It's okay. Okay, thanks, Greg. It was very similar when I was doing the Quick Crusher series. So it's about my lane. Top 20. I've actually lost a bit of sprint in the last 6 months because I've increased my endurance. I was thinking about getting into a really big sprint build, giving up endurance. I kind of sacked that off pretty quickly. So I'm thinking about getting into TTs outdoors once we're allowed to do TT events here in Australia. What did I do? Don't think it would have been anything more than 100. 900. Yeah, 787 for 5 seconds. I don't really trust. Got some weird critical power things. Yeah, there we go. 841. It was a long sprint after these efforts, so who have we got? So Nathan Guerrero won. Is he anyone know if he's streaming? So who beat me? It was yesterday. I think Self had a dropout yesterday. Bros. Ling. Oh, I beat Osborne this time. He beat me yesterday. I always think of Jason Osborne. Kind of scares me when I first see his name pop up on the Zwift. There's Mark O'Brien, I think. He's not a crit racer though. Okay. Let's head off to the next race. Annoyingly on Zwift doesn't name races. I'll go back in Strava, I should say. I'll go back and name them again. Okay, so the next issue is drafting on. Where's Thanks, Greg. Yeah, I understand it's pretty late. Well, actually, no, it's pretty early for you. But you got to do a smash a ride yourself. Because you're in Thailand, aren't you? Thailand, Vietnam. I know it's in one of those South Asian countries. New Zealand's in the South Pacific. Let's see. Is this race drafting or not? Might as well bring you guys along with. There's the screen to do that. So, yeah, that capture device. Hopefully it doesn't go nuts. Can't anyway. Oh. Okay, so I'll talk to you here because I haven't got the camera on set up in the one. I'll look at Zwift hacks and see if this is a drafting event. Time to start 10 o'clock, yep. Okay, doesn't say no draft. No TT bikes anyway. Alright, so it's definitely a race. Because we go back to the first TT today. It should say no drafting. Oh, I need TT bikes, so I suppose it doesn't need drafting. Can't I go back? Start. No drafting. Alright. So that settles that. Nice. climbing back. Where is it? Is it not showing my atheists? Press it. Where are you, Robles? Okay. Yeah, there's draft. Okay, I just checked. I just saw your comments, so you probably you might have already seen that. We're fighting hay fever because obviously it's our springtime now in Australia. I'm feeling rotten the last 3-4 weeks. I actually had a COVID test 2 weeks ago or so. Sick for about a week. So I probably should have got a COVID test earlier, but didn't. Yeah, it wasn't COVID, so I waited too long, got the test and it wasn't COVID. Didn't feel that bad, just felt as if I'd been overtraining, so I took 6 days off. Started riding again and still felt crap. Had my vaccination, so I thought maybe there's a vaccination, which it probably would have been. Last week, still feeling crap, so I took a few more days off. But thinking back, this time last year, I was also feeling horrible. Yeah, well, kind of lucky here in Australia in terms of we've got hardly any COVID. It's starting to get out of control, but our COVID levels are really low. So I'll probably end up possibly getting COVID in 6 months' time or a year's time, I suppose. I don't work in an industry like I can work from home. I just work part-time anyway. I just work from home. Whitney works from home. We only go to the shops when we need to. I've got my second jab coming up soon. But I'm pretty certain, well, it's definitely hay fever. It may be something else. Yeah, Ali, now backpedal from the backpedal team, the A3 Southern Ambassadors. Poor bugger, he got the Delta, or his wife did. So in Chile, they actually, if you get the Delta variant, you actually get put in quarantine. They take you away from your home. Yeah, see, for me, it's just tiredness, a little bit of irritation in the throat, and a little bit heavier breathing, slightly heavier breathing. But as you can see, I can still ride. It's just, I thought it was overtraining with a bit of cold. It could be cold with flu, not flu, with hay fever. But I've been taking hay fever tablets since I sort of thought, that's right, I get hay fever, don't I? So, I'm kind of lucky is that I can, because I'm always working from home and only work part-time, I can really rest up if I need to. Okay, what am I going to look at? Something on, that's right. Let's have a look at this power, see what's happening. Take my next sugar rush. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of especially when you're riding indoors at home. You can have all your food sitting here. There's no reason to have a gel because you have to put it in your pocket. but I'm a big fan of using sugar. So 1 teaspoon, 5 grams of sugar. So I've actually put, for this ride I've done 120 grams of sugar, which is 120 grams of carbs. And sugar's exactly the same stuff they put in the gels. In fact, it's actually got a better, it's got a 1-to-1 distribution of fructose and glucose. Yeah, I used nose spray a few years ago when I was working outdoors, especially when I was doing gardening outdoors. Definitely needed it then. Might move to that if it doesn't clear up before ZRL. So I did the Alp last week. I was doing good power and then I just started dying off. Not so much, like I knew I was going to die off, but looking at my numbers, it just didn't add up. So I don't normally do that effort, but it was, yeah, I think it was just I was starting to cough up, which I don't normally do. I hadn't been taking hay fever tablets. Any good excuse not to. It wasn't a bad time, just I was hoping to keep that effort going. Yeah, if you look up, I don't know if you got Jesse Coyle's just started doing his series. So Jesse Coyle used to, so Jay Vine's team in Australia. Jesse Coyle is one of the coaches and also riders in that team. I can link the actual video he does. He makes some really good points about, like he uses sugar. About how it's just a cheap version of the gels that people take. I've been using sugar for a long time because I'm a tight ass in my indoor training. I bought gels for the ZRL just because I thought maybe it'd be better, but then I started looking at sugar again. That's right, I was looking at Swift Power. So, Swift Power, come along with me. So we did that first one, that was ridiculous. What happened in that one? Crystalline, 430 watts, 460 watts, 460 watts, 486 watts. Dyka, way down here, measly 403 watts. But see the interesting thing, like 78 kilos, 74, 78, 83, 77, 85, 75, well, that's me. Nathan Guerin doing 6 watts per kilo. Yeah, so there's some big boys at this event and big engines. The other thing I've been doing too is taking a lot more hydrolyte. Especially now it's starting to get warmer again. I used to only take 1 or 2 tablets of hydrolyte. But now I'm just doing the maximum 4 tablets per hour now. Because, well, I'm not putting out as big a watts as these guys, but I'm putting out a lot of watts. So I need to make sure I cover my fueling and my minerals and things, otherwise I'm just going to plateau and not be able to get any faster. Don't know why I'm getting faster, but I'm trying to get faster. Do. Can always get slower. So down to 312. I get off the bike and a bit of stretch. So I've been trying to get rid of the belly. Can get down to 70 kilos quite easily if I just apply a bit of control. But as I said, Whitney's hobby is cooking. So hobby's not cooking lean vegetarian food. But the other thing too, if I'm going to be doing TTs, as you see, these guys are putting out big watts. You don't need to be particularly light for a lot of TT events unless you're doing this this TT up the hill. So in reality, 9 watts is going to be more beneficial. I'm not going to get myself a TT bike. That's the. I got all the gear except for the shifters. So I got derailleurs, got the cranks, chain sets, cassettes, wheels. Just need a frame set with the bars. I'm not going to spend a lot of money. Well, probably what I should do is sell my motorbike and get one. But the motorbike's pretty crap. Yeah, don't do it. Okay, don't ride Bologna. First time I did it was in the Duro when they had the prologue event. Zwift did that. That was the first time I did it. Tied up with her. That's why I've got the pink hat and the pink socks. That's what I got from that ride. Yeah, I was thinking about getting tri-bars for my bike. Then I thought, I might as well just get a tri-bike. I'm not allowed, been banned from doing road racing. I can still do fondos. Not that we've got any on at the moment, but other things. So I've really got to get my bike so that I can start practicing riding in this position, because I'm not really set up in this position with my hips and got to be over the bottom bracket more, but it's definitely need to get accustomed to it if I'm doing outdoor events. Alrighty, so 30 seconds to go. God, I hope I get a feather, not an anvil. Do they give you a power up as you go through this banner? Guessing so. 16 seconds. 11, 10. Getting nervous. Get in the draft. Jesus Christ. Thank you. Hopefully everyone's legs are a bit flipped. And they're all happy to roll to the climb. It's only 67 in this event. Pretty certain a lot of people pulled out. Keep an eye for Nathan Guerra. Try and elbow him off. But I went hard in that TT and I went hard in that pit race. But I find that those sort of efforts I'm good at coming back from. Probably everyone else is too though.
My boy, he ain't up to much. My boy, he ain't into love. My boy, he don't get all dressed up. He don't get a second glance.
Trying to do the least amount of work here, but still some pushing on.
We can dance. We can dance.
So, last spot pack here. I'm gonna move the TV because I got the camera dead ahead, but I got the I got where Zwift's actually here, even though the TV's dead ahead of me. Just the way the screen's set up. I look left to the comments, but it means I ride crooked. I'll be riding outdoors all the time like this. Wish I put my massive fan on now. How's the kicker core marker? You got the kicker core, didn't you? Yeah, just much harder riding indoors. Constant pedaling. Even when you rest up, you're not resting. So it's people pushing on here. It may be much better, Marco, when you're doing your zone 2 efforts. Oh, looking forward to the top, Marco. Looking forward to halfway. Yeah, thank F this isn't that climb. Here we go. Keep my pace. Worry about those guys mashing at the front. Oh my god. I just need encouragement. Okay. It's funny how deep you can dig, even when you think you're done. Honestly, if there wasn't that guy in front of me, that would have been 10 seconds slower up that climb, I think. I got a bit closer to Nathan Guerra that time. Yeah, that guy floors kicked my butt up the climb yesterday, so no surprise. Ross Osborne got me this time. But where is... Maybe he didn't race this time. Oh, I missed him. The guy that won the first race. Can't see him anywhere. Whew. Plus having you watching me, Marco. As I said to Paul Hamlet when I did my outclimb, I was thinking about the gains that you'd made. So having you cheering me on, I can't put in a weak performance in, can I? Teaching up the help. Yeah, yesterday when I wasn't streaming, I got a bit of ADHD, I think. Even when we were racing yesterday, I kept on typing away. No one else is responding. Yeah. Having rabbits up the road or someone else watching your effort definitely adds some accountability. I was watching a podcast, or listening to a podcast yesterday though, which I'll probably take on board. Not so much for racing, but for my VO2 efforts, for my high intensity intervals. I've been trying to hit them as hard as I can because of the saying, when you go hard, go hard. But in this podcast from Fast Talk, or Fast Labs, or whatever they call themselves now, they're talking about how you don't want to go so deep that it ruins the quality of your next ride. So, for racing, yeah, I'll go deep if I have to. But from now on, with my VO2 or high intensity intervals, I'll do, 99%. Yeah, I saw that in your write-up, Marco. I think because you're saying that he went past you at the beginning or something, and you post your effort. That's a good thing about riding with Zwift and being in a community like Backpedal is you what's the saying? You stand on other people's shoulders. So we watch Ed's learned from other people. Who learned from Ruben. And of course you got Ruben coaching you. So if you went into that Alp climb 20 or 30 years ago where we don't have access to what we have now and you didn't have a coach, even if you're as fit as you are now, you might not necessarily have had the time you had. I like it how Ed mentioned the other day that even, like, don't be afraid to ask him questions or tell him things that you might think and he can improve on. That's pretty important, because even if it's not, it just gives us something to think about. One of the things I've been doing is doing 1 day off a week and then pretty consistent except for Sundays the rest of the week. So I'll do 1.5 hours, 1 hour to 2 hours most of the time during the week. And then on Sunday, I'll do a long training ride with races in between during the week. What I'm going to try and do leading up to ZRL is sort of flip that a little bit. I'm going to do 2 or 3 week blocks depending on how I feel, and then take 3 or 4 days off completely. And it actually lower my training load, but I'll have higher training load during those blocks. Because the reality is, I'm not a pro. I like training for the sake of training. So I like to see what happens if you do something. And if it's not working, I'm quite happy to bin it. Go to something else. So I'll try and do it. Let's see how I go. Problem with Zwift is you've always got races on. That's why I'm trying to do it before ZRL, because there's not really anything leading up to ZRL on the weekends. There's a Wednesday night race I can do. So I'll do a Wednesday night race and work around that. Get to the grass so I can let you go, Marco, because it must be pretty late where you are. Let's see. Guess the TSS. Doesn't really help because it's such a short ride. Okay, end ride. It looks good because it's so short. I'll take the image now. I'll wait for the pizzas to go away. I always try and take it with the calories. That was pretty good, actually, because I wanted to go a little bit harder at that first part because it's so steep when it levels off a bit, and then go harder again on the steepest part. And then obviously do the negative split as much as I can. Just empty the tank and get past that guy. Critical power. I mean, obviously that's buggered up, but I don't trust this. Because you know when you do those rides where this line gets buggered up? I know I've got a much better 5-minute time last time I did this climb, but it's not in here. It was like 5 minutes at 470 watts or something. It's not in here. So I just ignore this graph from now on. Oh, I keep cooling down. Yeah, you got close there, 30. I'll have to check in my Zert because I'm guessing I got a breakthrough on one of those rides. So my target is over-unders my lower threshold. So my lower threshold is what I can do for hours and hours and hours, and after, if I held that for 5 hours, it would feel like my max sprint, really. So FTP is important, but being exactly, like, depends on where you are. Like, obviously if your FTP is only 100, then 10 watts is a big difference. But for me, 10 watts isn't going to make much difference. I trained for about 2 months once. I did my first build, first proper build, I gained 50 watts. And for that first 2 months, I never really changed my FTP. I still gained 50 watts. Yeah. Sweet spot's good. I just don't, for me, maybe it's just the training that I do. Also because of the level I'm at. But I find that I prefer doing lower level, like Lucy work for a little bit longer. I feel like I'm fresher next day. It's about sustainable training. It might be because I do all my training indoors. So, because I'm not doing those 5-6 hour rides outdoors to complement sweet spot. So I did do a bit of sweet spot a few weeks ago. I'll have to get back to it again at some stage when I'm not, because I had my that was when, before I realised that I had hay fever. Yeah, that's what I started doing sweet spot for my own, because I wanted to improve my, even though when you're doing out, yeah, okay, it's an hour sort of effort depending on how fast you are. But what you'll find is that your normalized power will still be different to average. So your target powers, like your 30-minute power sometimes, rather than your hour power, or even your 20-minute power. But then if you look at the Zwift racing I do, my target power is like 6 minutes power. So that's why sweet spot, I'll do that for TTs, because that's helping me target my 20-minute power. There's so many things that I want to do, actually. I can't do them all at one go. I want to get back to doing Monostat and Tabatas, but considering how good my punch is already, I think I should try and, well, I'll build up my FTP a bit, but concentrate on my punch for the ZRL. Because Zwift is very specific to what you need for almost all these ZRL races. Especially in the level that I'm at, where you're sitting in your recovery zone up until you come to the sprint banners or the climb, that short 2-minute climb. Yeah, I suppose it depends on how well you, like, I haven't ridden the Alp, but it depends what you're doing with, yeah, as I say, with your pacing. So there's still a bit of difference there, 263 versus 269. So if you're doing that at your FTP, but if your FTP is 263 and you're doing 269, that still brings it down. But yeah, you did pace it very evenly. Kind of jealous that you got a new core. I've still got the Gen 1 kicker. And actually, I really like, well, I think I like the road feel, or the feel of the core kicker, I should say. I've got Whitney's, I've got the Dorita. I don't like the feel of that. It's a lighter flywheel on the way changing resistance. Use that motor. Kicker uses a brake. If this was as accurate as the Dorito, it'd be awesome. I wouldn't want anything else except for something more silent. But these Kicker Gen 1s are terrible for accuracy. They've got way too much thermal drift. Some days they're perfectly accurate, some other days they're not. Hello, Whitney. Yeah, that's, see, you must have evened out those flatter bits though pretty well. Like you mustn't have backed off the pedal pressure much. Yeah, that's pretty good. Like you could see what I did when I was doing my TT in the first race. When I came up to those little gradients, I was kicking up a lot. Probably too much. But I was thinking in my mind, oh that's right, there's these little hills. I've also done tests in Zwift, and because I was thinking about doing a video, doing a 4 kilometer attack. So my idea was, let's see if we can do it. So do a Ashton Lambie challenge. So the idea is you put your bike in your biggest gear. Well, it doesn't do the biggest gear, but you got to try and do 50 something kilometers an hour. Okay, so the idea is that you've got to do a track start. You can't do a start like you do on Zwift. See if I can get you can't stop the flywheel completely or it backs off the pressure. Probably end up injuring myself doing this. So basically with the 4 kilometers, the difference between that and a time trial on Zwift is Zwift you just don't worry about gearing. Okay, so let's see if I can. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is my idea, that you do a proper 4K Ashton Lambie style 4 kilometer event. I'm not going to do it now, but that's the idea. So you start off in the gear you're going to be in, like a proper track event. No changing gears. And you try and see how fast you can do 4 kilometers as a challenge. I might live stream it next week because I think about making videos, but I suck at making videos. With live stream, it might not be good quality, but at least it gets it done. So I'll put up a challenge, I think. Maybe I'll do it in the back pedal chat. Yeah, not something really flat for 4 kilometers. I was looking at France. Yeah, I don't know, because it doesn't have to be. Well, yeah, I put 0 because everyone's train is different. And we're going to do it in the flattest land possible. So I put it in the back pedal chat. And we can all. If we do a meetup, can we turn draft or not? I'm not sure. I don't think we can. So that's, yeah, I'll talk in the back pedal chat, but that'll be a fun thing. We try and do 4 kilometers as fast as we possibly can. And it's kind of like it'll be like our hill climb challenge. I think it's better for us heavier guys. Yeah, but what I mean though, Marco, is we're trying to do it like, if we can do it as flat as possible, so it's as close as we can to doing a time trial in a velodrome. Because there is no 4 kilometer segments on Zwift, is there? Flat 4 kilometers. But either way, I'll definitely live stream my attempt to do it. But what I've done is I've been I've been using my Ant Plus simulator just to test different things, like how ridiculous the physics can be sometimes. Rather interestingly, you can only do 2000 watts maximum. So if you're Chris Hoy, you're getting screwed when you're doing Zwift racing. Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I was thinking about doing the 4 kilometer, because it's a really short effort. It'll be fun to do as a meetup for people. And even if you don't smash yourself, it's fun to watch other people. And also the biggest thing is, like, because when I was looking into what his effort was, Jesse Claw made a really good point. Oh, hello, Whitney. Jesse Claw made a really good point. Someone like Rowan Dennis could not do what Ashton Lambie did from his training at the moment, because Rowan Dennis is used to taking off from the ramps. Ashton Lambie's been doing weights for that initial kick off the line where you haven't got any help, and you've got to stay in that top gear. And you've got to do a lot of watts. As you see, for me to get going, that's a lot of watts. So you're almost doing, well, it is a bit like a Zwift start, but you're putting a lot of watts in that beginning bit. So what was my point? Anyway, yeah, so my point was you can't just sort of think, okay, I'm going to average 400 watts for this effort, because you've got to put that 600 watts in to get going. And then that's going to destroy you. It's going to bring down the valuable power you've got so much. But you can't not do that acceleration, otherwise you've lost 7 or 8 seconds. Yeah. So I've been doing testing, and one of the reason why I think Zwift favours light riders so much is because no matter how much power you put out, we can't equal Ashton Lambie's record on Zwift unless it's a ridiculous amount of power. I think I was doing 700 watts. You'd have to do 700 watts for that 4 minutes. Something like that. Because Zwift has this weird thing with its dynamics. You kind of hit a wall. Otherwise, I think if you're going downhill in a group, you'd be doing 120, 130 kilometers an hour. Because that's realistically what you would do. In real life, if you went down the Alp, epic KOM, in a big bunch that didn't have brakes and could go straight through each other, you get to 130, 140 easily. So, Zwift really... So the big guys on the flats, you can't put the pain on, because to do extra 2 or 3 kilometers an hour, you got to do so many more watts. But then when you get to the hills, watts per kilo is the king. It is more realistic in terms of even though your speed's faster, it's realistic in terms of if you put more watts per kilo, you go faster, as you'd expect. Anyway, that's my rant about Zwift and why doing 400 watts at 80 kilos is not fair. And why you see so many light riders at the top of the Zwift rankings. Yeah, I'll put the chat up on the screen, Whitney, because otherwise, because I'm such a lowly YouTuber, when I finish streaming, people can't see the live chat until it's like 24 hours later. Yeah, Marco, Whitney's come to save you. So yeah, I'll put it up in that back pedal chat. See what people think about it. Yeah, if we start talking about that in back pedal chat, we could get another flame war. I don't think Ed really liked it when I said the light guys have the advantage on Zwift. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty certain they know what they could do, but they just won't do it because it complicates the system so much. Because all the roads on Zwift have got the same rolling resistance. If you wanted to make the out more realistic, you could up the rolling resistance on the out. Probably change gravity, because I think the gravity is probably not quite right in Zwift. Gravity calculation. What'd be good is when they, like my camera, obviously don't have to be live streaming, but you set your camera up and then the camera, I had this years ago on Xbox, the camera can pick up where you are and your avatar sits. So if you ride like this, the avatar calculates, well, it calculates your CDA. So the riders who can get the most aerodynamic on Zwift will be the ones who are better. Yeah, no, Whitney, I definitely. So, Marco, I rode with Whitney the other day and I set it to 130 kilos with a mountain bike, but then Whitney rode away from me. So, I had to put it to 110 kilos. That's the best way, I think, for me to ride with her. Otherwise, well, I've got to make it a little bit interesting. No, it was weight, Whitney. Plus the mountain bike. The mountain bike helps with aerodynamic resistance. So Whitney's going to ride later on, she said, Marco. This will be a third ride. I might actually subscribe her rather than just do the free subscription. I'm not going up this hill. All right, I better go, Marco. Have a good sleep. Thanks for the encouragement too. I'll do my outro. I've got to make sure I turn my mic off this time. Yeah. Yeah, it's good for you, Marco. I think the aero guys did it so you calculate it so everyone has 3 watts per kilo and then went up the out. I wouldn't want to do that. It'd be good for the guys who usually do 2 watts per kilo. Catch you in the chat.